Yo,
What's up?
Gladiator.
What's up, my guy
Did
area?
you order some TRT for MSTR or what? It's gonna need to. That's what it needs, right?
You think MSTR needs some TRT?
Dude, it's looking like it needs TRT. You're telling me Bitcoin's green on the day, and MSTR is down almost 3%, and it doesn't need some testosterone replacement therapy?
Yeah, I don't think it needs to. Here, let's wait for it. Let's give it a couple minutes to get some more heads in here. But this is hilarious.
I'm curious. I'm curious. I mean, I'll give you a moment to think about that rebuttal because if you don't get it order up for them, you know what? We're gonna have to get it sent to Sailor's house. He's gonna have to do something here.
That's true. So why don't you walk us through what you're seeing in the overall market before we get into Bitcoin and MSTR?
Yeah, so I had two buys today. I got some CrowdStrike and I got some Shopify. Software names are obviously it looks like the dominant theme today. And yesterday, if any people had saw what I posted, I posted several software names that were acting really well, including Net, which is another cybersecurity software name. And I think that that's kind of where money's rotating to right now is software. Um,
Software.
yeah, software. You look at, I mean, so
You
I
talking about
bought
on the
Crowd.
day? Are you talking about on the day? Or
No, just in general. I mean, look at, names like Net. Look at Shopify. Look at CrowdStrike, new all-time high,
why did Net break out today?
Well, Net's kind of been actually Net has been one of the leaders in the cyberspace for the last few weeks, right? Even when the market looked shaky, and on a day like yesterday, I mean, Net was pushing, right? And it's not just Net. Dude, it's a plethora of names. I posted them all here. We'll run through them really quick, just to get a better idea, but. Um, Okay, so obviously we know about Meta, but a name like Net, CrowdStrike, even ServiceNow, NOW, look at Reddit, new all-time high, Snow, RBRK, CRM, TWLO. I mean, those are software names, right? That's what they are for the most part. A lot of them are software as a service, So, and that's how they make their money. Their margins are usually pretty massive. And meanwhile, semiconductors, we talked about it yesterday. They're getting beat up pretty much across the board. So the money goes somewhere, right? And it's going into software. I couldn't tell you why in particular, but they act great. So I think that that's the important part to just focus on. I always tell people, where's money going? Where's money leaving? It's like arguing with the market just because, I saw people and I get it, like Nvidia is down 17% yesterday. So I hear people talking about buying the 2x leverage in Nvidia for, a
That's
move
crazy.
higher. And I get that, because it's down 17%, just a natural, basically dead cat bounce is reasonable. But the fact is that you look at a name like CrowdStrike at all-time highs, or Net, basically 52-week highs, or ServiceNow all-time highs. I mean,
I
that
think
there's no overhead supply in those stocks. So if you owned it and you own it, why would you want to sell something that's making an all-time high? It's just similarly like JP Morgan. If you bought JP Morgan immediately after earnings and the market's been pretty much okay other than yesterday, which was kind of like a black swan event for these data center AI names, the reality is that you have in a good market stocks that are at all-time highs, everybody's green, right? So nobody's like, I need to sell it. I've got overhead, or damn, it's down 20% from my average. I can't wait for it to come back up. And then I can just get out for break even. That's not anybody's mentality in Meta, right? That's nobody's mentality in CrowdStrike. That's nobody's mentality right now. If you had to hold CrowdStrike and you had like a 380 average and then you held it back down to 200, right? As it's getting back up to 380, you might just mentally be like, you know what? Let me just get my flat position out of here and thank God I got my money back. I mean, it would be hard for me to believe any smart person's holding a stock down from 380 back to 200, but people do it all the time. And that is normal.
this is CrowdStrike you're talking about.
Yeah, this is CrowdStrike. It got killed. You remember last
So is
year?
it hitting? Is it hitting all-time highs
It's
right
all
now?
time high, dude. It's up 100% since fucking August, basically, dude.
That was some crazy. Yeah, there was that one. didn't their network shut down or something
Yeah,
nationwide?
and airlines got delayed and flights got delayed and whatever other shit, a bunch of other negative stuff happened and obviously their stock got cut in half. And then it's taken, about 6 months for it to come back. And then, yeah, it's like we talk about it. You could look at CrowdStrike on a daily and it's what I tell you all the time. A stock has to go up and then it goes sideways. And if you looked at CrowdStrike, other than this, breakout over the last, today and, past couple of days where it's been trending a little high, it went sideways for a month and a half, and that's healthy, right? It's like you go up from 200 to 380, and then you go sideways for 2 months, and then now you're breaking out of a 2 month consolidation. It's like we don't really know how much higher cybersecurity can go, but the thing is it's at all time highs. There's not a soul who owns it that's red. And it's the same thing with Net and Palo Alto Networks, PanW bounced off the 200. So it's like you've got a lot of positives for the group and then software in general, right? Like I bought Shopify today. I didn't think it was going to make a 10% move, but it's what it's giving us. So, software acts awesome. And that's kind of where the focus should be. And then, there are a couple gold names that look really good too. I don't get too excited about owning gold because they're slow. I don't get too excited about owning banks because they're slow. And what I mean by that is their average daily range is kind of small. Like they might move 2 or
Yeah.
3% per
That's
day.
why.
So
That's why I think you should like MicroStrategy and Bitcoin, just because the volatility is there.
yeah, but the volatility right now for MicroStrategy is to the wrong direction, right? I want to be able to buy a CrowdStrike and then be green on the name, right? And my
So
strategy is
how
basically,
long's your time frame? Because I think it's
so
kind
this
of.
is how I trade. I look for things that are in strong groups, right? And so I spotted a bunch of software names yesterday.
I have one question, by the way. I'm in my car right now. Is my audio as good as
Yeah, you
like the
sound good.
last?
Yeah, you
Okay,
sound
good.
good. Yeah. So effectively what I'm looking for is stocks that have shown strong strength, right? And CrowdStrike coming back from 200 to 380 is very strong. It basically got back all its losses. Then you go sideways, and that sideways creates you a range where you can now limit your risk, right? So when something breaks to the upside of the range, my stop is normally the low of the day. So it's very important that I time my entries well, but my entries are very simple. It's typically just right over prior day high. So as it's breaking the range. So I'll buy my stock and then I'm looking for momentum, right? So 3 to 5 days of upward momentum when something breaks a range. That then allows me to peel some of my shares into that strength. So then at the very least, the daily moving averages are now ascending. And so at that point, I don't deal with them anymore. My trade is done. I will have peeled some into strength, whether it be a third or a half of my position. And then I just let the stock ride on its ascending 10 or 20 day. And that is all
Yeah.
dependent on how fast the stock moves. If it's a slower name and it was even tighter, had even a bigger base, it might allow me to use the 50 day. And
What? So what? Like on a normal trade, you just ride it as long as you can, or what's your
yeah,
normal time frame?
as long as it's above its moving average that I'm trailing it on, I'm not leaving,
So
right?
let's
That's
say
what
let's say theoretically, MicroStrategy is a 10-year play. Would you ever consider just buying it and just ignoring all the moving averages and just holding it for 10 years?
No, because I don't need to give back open gains, right? There has to be something that gets you out, right? Like I know people who held VRT from $17 and yesterday it was 100 or 2 days ago it was 150, right? And then it lost, it dropped all the way to 100. I mean, that sucks, right? How would you like, I mean, for this person, it's still a 500% gain and that's great. But, imagine giving back a third of your open gains in a day. I mean, you have to have something. And again, we don't know if that was the bottom or if that's the start of a longer move lower. And the reality is, could you imagine being up 5, 6, 700% on something only to then when you finally can't take the pain anymore, you close it for 120% gainer or 100% gain? I mean, that's fucking terrible.
But
So you have to have something.
I agree with you normally for trading, but like if let's say MSTR is what I think it is, and it's going to be Apple in 2007, why not just hold it for 10 years? And
Here's the reality.
maybe that's not your whole portfolio, but that could just be one of your trades, and it could
Yeah,
be.
if I put like 2% of my portfolio, which would still be meaningful money, but if I put like 2% of my portfolio there, then yeah, it doesn't matter because even if it went to zero, I'm only losing 2%, right? But the reality is that it then has to do something absolutely fucking crazy for it to actually move my portfolio
It's not
north.
going to go to zero though. But I guess you don't trade off of fundamentals. You're just all charts.
Well, I do trade off fundamentals, right? Because if a stock has good earnings and sales, good reoccurring revenues, EPS growth, and they're in a good group, and look, that last part that I just said, they're in a good group. That's the most important part, because in the leading group, or in the group that's gaining most attention, even the shittiest of stocks, like the quantum names, you can have a former beverage company, QUBT, go from $1 to 27, right? And that's a 2,700% move, in just a few weeks. So the reality is that as long as you're in a good group, but if you want a sustained move, like when I bought Nvidia, at 100 and something, 167, right? Like I wasn't totally familiar with how awesome their earnings were going to be. But then as it consolidated for 5 months near 500, all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, they're going to have $100 billion in free cash
This
flow.
this is Nvidia.
Yeah, this is Nvidia at 500. So when I bought that breakout, I
I
was
think you're
familiar
talking
with
about
their
the
Is he talking
fundamentals.
about? Are you talking about pre-split or what are you talking about?
Yeah, so I bought Nvidia at 167 at the end of 22.
So what is that compared to like in current stock split terms?
That
Is
would
that
be
like
like $16.
so it went up like 10 times? But did you
Yeah,
hold?
and
Did you
and I
ride it
was
all
out
the way?
at and I was out at 230. Big mistake. Well, then I watched it go higher and higher and higher, and then go sideways for 5 months. And if you looked at a chart like
Yeah, I
Nvidia, and
remember. I remember that it went up, and it was actually going up a little bit, and then it
yeah, it was like
broke out.
trickling higher, but then just really ended up building this big sideways base. And it's funny
It
if you
kind of
looked at
it
if you
kind of
look.
reminds me of Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, I mean yeah, kinda. The
Not
the
it's
thing is
not
is
it's
that the
bit.
base just isn't as long for
Yeah,
Bitcoin. The thing
Bitcoin.
with Bitcoin though is it's got more momentum. Like when Bitcoin
Yeah.
moves, it moves with more momentum, so it doesn't need
You
a
know,
5 month
you know
base.
what that Nvidia base was like? It was like the Bitcoin base from 3 months ago, but except the Nvidia base was going up a little bit while the Bitcoin base was a more textbook cup and handle.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Nvidia that was basing out for 5 months. You can look at the stock that ran directly with it, which was SMCI. It also put in a very long base as well. And when they did break out, Nvidia basically went on to triple, 1400, 1500 from
why are
500.
you so fascinated with SMCI? I've heard you talk about it like 200 times in the last 3 days.
Well, just because it's a good example for people to go and look at to understand what a nice base breakout might, what it
Are,
looks
are you
like.
are you talking about SMCI when it broke out?
Yeah, I'm not talking about
Yeah.
SMCI right now. It's dog shit,
Yeah,
dude. And in fact,
SMCI turned out to be a scam company, but there
in
was a
fact, it would
point.
have been, had I held my whole short, it would have been an 8-figure short. So yeah, it's dog shit, and I wish I was more patient with it on the short side, because I had 1,076 average on
Do you think that
14,000
company's?
shares.
Do you think that company's going to go bankrupt?
I don't know. I mean, dude, the thing is they've got competition, right? Their main thing that they do is they make server racks basically, and you got a company like Dell that can do the exact same thing.
Didn't they like fraudulent accounting numbers?
Yeah, they couldn't file a 10Q or 10K. I don't remember. They couldn't file. So that's an issue, and then,
You just gotta stick with the other micro company, micro strategy. Ignore the super micro.
yeah, well, I hear you. And again, if you allocate something small enough that, the position size doesn't bother you, what it does. I mean, look, to that effect, my stepfather 20 years ago put $16,000 into Apple, and it's a $2.5 million position
See,
today. So yeah,
that's what I want my MSTR play to be. I want it to be like Apple in 2007, and then 20 years from now, it's up like 1,000 times.
yeah, and look, it can very well happen, but as somebody who does actively trade like myself, I want to be in things that have momentum, because that's how I trade, right? I buy things coming out of a tight consolidation, so I know exactly where my risk lies. I'm making sure I'm focused on the right groups, and recently it's been software. I buy that breakout.
So
I
what was your return, if you don't mind me asking, in 24?
Last year, under 100%, so like 90% or just a little less than that.
That's still very good
Yeah,
though.
just because my portfolio's gotten bigger, dude, it's like actually, doing something that like I did in 20 and 21. It just becomes too difficult, right?
So if you had just put it all into MSTR, like Gladiator, and moved into your
No.
parents' basement, you would have outperformed your your current portfolio by like 5 or
Yeah,
6.
I'd be able to have a even much bigger house, 7 bedrooms.
No, but
Yeah,
I
you'd still
think.
be in your parents' basement bull posting about MSTR.
Oh my god. No, but 90% still good. I mean, he wouldn't have known that I wasn't even in MSTR in January on 2024, so I'm not gonna tell Ariel that he should have been in.
Hey,
But
hey,
I think
Teddy, hey, Teddy, did
I've
you,
been in MSTR 2 weeks after Saylor announced the Bitcoin strategy,
really.
and I've
Teddy,
diamond handed. I've diamond handed the entire time, except one time I sold when British HODL was saying that the ETFs were going to suck capital out of the MicroStrategy trade. I sold, and within 3 weeks, I realized that he was wrong, and I moved 100% of the ETF money back into MicroStrategy.
Do you like British Hall? He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's just, he gets, super bullish on certain things, and then I
He's
think,
back bullish on MSTR.
yeah, no, I know he
I
is,
did a
which is
podcast.
good.
I did a podcast with him yesterday.
Oh yeah, how'd
so
it go?
somebody's got to tell
It's
me
good.
what's going on with MSTR today. I'm ready to hear all the excuses.
So I
Oh,
mean,
they're
this
doing
isn't
it,
really
doing more
anything.
ATM, man. They're
It's
doing more
only
It's
ATM.
loading.
no, but I mean, look at the actual daily candle. It hasn't really moved.
Yeah,
That's,
it's red while Bitcoin's green. So now it's got relative weakness towards Bitcoin.
but here's
No,
the
but
thing. Here's
they're
the
doing an
thing.
ATM again. What
No,
are you
no,
talking
I
about?
don't think it's ATM. Here's
It
the
is
thing.
ATM.
Here's the thing. All the Bitcoin stocks are down like one or two, but the Bitcoin MicroStrategy does not move with Bitcoin day to day. It's more of a month to month, year to year thing.
Okay. So I
That's
mean,
my opinion. So
Compare the year to date.
no, but
Is
I
Bitcoin
actually posted.
outperforming
Let me
MSTR
post
on the
this.
year to date?
Let me post this for everything and put this on here because I think it's important for people to see this. So if you just zoom out and you look at the charts of this isn't really a chart, but Bitcoin versus MicroStrategy, it's literally 4 times the return over the last year. That being said, day to day, who the hell knows what's going to happen? That's
Yeah,
my
and even if you look at the year to date, which I just pulled up right now, Bitcoin is up 9.7% year to date, and MicroStrategy is up 12.6% year to date. And
are
I
you
know that
calculating it from 1/2's close, or are you calculating it from 12/31's close? I'm assuming 12/31, right?
um
Because if you did, it's actually up even a little bit more than if you calculate it from
Jan
12/31, it's
I'm
closer
looking
to
at
16.
market open of this year, Jan 2nd.
Got it. Okay. So the
Yeah,
open, we're looking at what's opening price here? 311 cents.
that's right. 301 cents is what it's got here on this chart I'm looking at, and
So
then
12%.
Bitcoin.
12%.
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
I think this would
Bitcoin
be
Bitcoin
funny.
is 93,462, up 9.77%. So even though today it's not out trading Bitcoin, it is over the last month thus far. And it's been doing ATMs to acquire more Bitcoin. It hasn't done any convertible notes, and it's in the process of doing this preferred. I think once we see this preferred or a convertible note, it's going to well outperform again, and we're going to see a big run on MSTR.
I want to hear you guys real quick go over your how you guys after you guys had if anyone doesn't know, we had a first base and Teddy Bitcoins and Ariel were cursing at each other, basically trying to fight each other, and then they realized that they went to high school together. So I want to go over that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly,
man.
I don't remember Teddy's face from back in the day. So, he says he's from my old hometown. He knows a couple
I
places.
lost a bunch of weight, man. I look like a different guy right now.
Yeah, well, I hear you.
And I grew up. That was quite a while ago, but yeah,
Yeah.
me and Ariel, we didn't hang out or anything. It's not like we were best buds, but I think we're still not best buds just yet. So
You guys were business partners at one point, though.
Yeah, we could look at it that way, I guess.
uh yeah,
But
he's He's not quite bullish on MSTR yet, so can't make
I
him a
think I think it would
friend.
be
That's why
funny
I
if
keep
Ariel. I think it would be funny if Ariel bought a small position in MSTR just for fun, and then just promised to hodl it forever.
Dude, I mean, just to appease you, I might just have to buy 10 shares and keep them for life.
Well, why don't you buy some MSTR and then sell some calls? Like if you think that it's not gonna trade up for a while,
I think it
right?
would be
Like,
funny if Ariel just bought a little bit of MSTR and then just posted updates on it, and then he just hodls it forever. Even though something, I know he's a short-term trader, but it would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, look, and
Ariel,
I'm
what
happy
do
to
you
be a
think?
longer term trader
What do you think about my idea where you buy MSTR and then sell some
and then
calls?
sell some calls.
Ariel,
Yeah.
what do you think about MSTY? I personally don't like
Leverage?
it. No. So this is different. So MSTY is a dividend play. Basically, it's you know how people sell calls on stock?
Yes.
So that basically does that for you somehow. And so I personally don't like it because I think MSTR is going to go up so much that caps the upside. But last year, that returned if you reinvested the dividends around 300% because the dividends were 98%. And if you put all the dividends back into MSTY throughout the year, the returns would have been crazy.
Yeah, problem is I don't really deal with too many like leverage products and stuff like that just because
Well, this one's not leverage. It's just it's an ETF that just sells calls on MSTR. So it's, you know how people, it's like this low risk thing people do where they utilize the volatility to generate dividends or something.
yeah. What's the difference between that and
You've
like
probably heard
something
that
like
strategy.
MST?
Josh Mann always talks about it. They try to sell calls on their shares or something. But
What's the
anyway,
difference between
MSTY
that
does
and an
that for you,
MSTU?
and you should look it up. It's a different product. I think I'm so bullish on MSTR that I don't personally own it because it caps the upside, but it does return about 100% a year in dividends, which is crazy.
Let's see what this thing looks like.
It's basically deleveraged MSTR.
Look,
It's not
if you have
leveraged.
like FinViz or something, you can look up MSTY and you can actually see the dividends
I'm
there.
looking at it
It's
right.
not
Yeah, I don't see the
leveraged. So
dividends
you're
here.
thinking of MSTX. This one's a different one.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this thing, I mean, MSTY looks ready to break down.
See there, Ariel.
I hate to even say that.
Like, how does something look ready to break down?
Teddy,
Because it's gone
can
down, it's
anyone hear
gone
me?
sideways, and now it's living below moving averages. That's how it
It's
looks ready to
gone
break.
sideways and spit out a 10% basically return per month in dividends.
Yeah, and if you think about it from, let's just even say from
Hello.
January 6th high, it's also down 15%. So that dividend hasn't done you shit.
Gladiator, are you trying to talk? Gladiator? Is Gladiator trying to talk right now? I think you might have lost connection.
Oh, he'll be back.
Are you guys following the STRK or the preferred that's coming out Thursday?
Yeah.
So, are you guys interested in that? Are you gonna
I'm
get
not big.
some? Are you
I'm
gonna
not big on
stick with?
fixed income.
Yeah, I was wondering. It's like, I mean, it's an interesting product they're adding. I just, it's like, I mean, I don't really care about the volatility, so I'm not interested in like trying to quash the volatility for an 8% dividend, it's but it is interesting.
Yeah, I'm not trying to buy any MSTR or any related products on the long side, until it starts to look better from a technical perspective and until I start to see, Bitcoin turning up a little. The fact is like it's not even outperforming we were talking about how it follows the cues and it's not even outperforming that today. So, I mean,
Do you feel like
money's going other places. I think that, that should be people's focus.
I don't disagree. Do you ever think that the moves become like when Bitcoin really moves, like if it has a 7 or an 8K day, you can get some real violent moves in MicroStrategy for sure. So
Yeah,
you can get, you get days where, I mean,
15%,
oh
12%.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, they had some moves that are, 20, 22%,
Yo, can you
like in a
guys hear
day.
me?
I mean,
I think my
yeah,
thing's
you're back.
glitching.
You're back.
We
Can't
can
hear
hear you
anyone
now.
else.
Can you hear us? Gladiator, can you hear us?
His Tesla's falling apart.
And even Nvidia with a halfway decent bounce today. Not too surprised about that.
But do you feel like that you don't want to miss out on the move? Like, I mean, say you have Bitcoin where somebody turns on the spigot and they decide, and then it rips out of its consolidation. So you get the move from 103, it breaks an all-time high, you're sitting at 112, 113, then it rips again and goes to, 120 in 72 hours or something, like where you have some violent move. And MSTR has moved, 100 points or whatever.
Yeah.
And you say to yourself, well, and then the charts, like, they look like they make sense from a chart perspective, but you're already like your upside is so ridiculous at that point where like, do you ever feel like waiting for the upside on something this kind of violent is, you're damned if you do, you're damned. I mean, I get both sides of the trade, but you ever feel like,
Like
you don't want
well,
to.
here's the thing, man. It's like trading as a career, there's always going to be another trade, and I plan on trading likely until I'm dead. So if you miss a trade, it just is what it is. If you can't limit your risk on your entry, then it just really doesn't matter. And yeah, if MSTR rips from where it's at right now, and then in 3 days it's at 440, your risk reward is kind of, it's not skewed well anymore. So it's just a missed trade. But I've missed so many trades on the long side, that you just kind of grow accustomed to it. And your job is not to miss all of them, be there when they're breaking out or be there when they're moving out of a tight consolidation. Cause again, if I'm wrong, and as a swing trader, you're wrong 70% of the time, but it's the 30% where you really make your money. And it's like, I end up holding a Rocket Lab, for 400% gain, right? That's the whole idea. And then when you're wrong, it's such peanuts, it doesn't really matter. So I don't get too much FOMO, just like watching something go. And the reality is, if MSTR does make that kind of move, it's going to drag up other parts of the sector that'll likely give me an opportunity, whether it be Coinbase or whether it be, again, and I do not like the miners, but maybe something like an Iron or a Hut, gives some follow up to that. And again, I really don't like trading a lagging name, but if the sector is going to continue to be strong, even a MicroStrategy, if it's going to go to 1,000, we're acting like it's not going to give us several opportunities to hop aboard, right? It is. It doesn't just go vertical in a straight line for 36 days in a row. They pull back, they find support on rising moving averages, it builds a higher low, it builds some kind of a flag, some kind of a consolidation over the course of 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. And you can start to find, your low risk entry within what's called a high type flag. And, yeah, so I'm not feeling FOMO if Bitcoin rips to 120. I would just say that's awesome. Now we've got something else to trade right now. And that's what it is. And currently that thing to trade is software names, whether it be Shopify or a CrowdStrike or a Reddit or you name Net or, you name it. And software names are going higher right now. So the focus is on things that are going higher and not to get FOMO or start buying things that are going lower, expecting them. Like, I'm not trying to use my brain to say MSTR has gone down too much, now it's time to buy. That's silly. That's a silly waste of my brain power, right? Instead, I just want to be like, okay, it's not just CrowdStrike moving up, it's Palo Alto Networks, it's Net. It's like, okay, so there's a strong group. And like, look for the strong groups within the market and be where institutions are piling money into, right? They took a bunch of money out of semis yesterday and held up software stocks incredibly well. It's like, if you're building positions as an institution, you don't just do that over the course of a day. You do that over the course of a couple quarters sometimes. So, follow the money. And I'm not focused at all on anything that might be going down, because you could just be holding something in a year long consolidation. And yeah, maybe MicroStrategy goes next year and Gladiator gets to tell us how right he was. But in the meantime, you get a chance to make 50 and 60 and 100 and 200% on your portfolio. You'll have much more money for when MSTR is actually ready to go higher. And if it just shoots up higher because Bitcoin looks great, then it'll probably set up again. It'll get tight for a few days and it'll give you another opportunity to hop aboard something that's finally got some strength. But the reality is MSTR hasn't been strong in 3.5 months. So, do I have FOMO of missing out on something that hasn't moved higher in 3.5 months? The answer is fuck no, right? I mean, it's a simple answer. Why would I have FOMO on trying to time a bottom on something? It's like saying AMD has to move higher because Nvidia has gone berserk. Well, if you did that, your money has done nothing for
Well,
the
at
last
least
year.
it's
In fact,
fair to
you've lost money.
say.
Okay, guys, I can't hear any of you guys, but I want to say real quickly that Ariel is low
What's low
T.
T is MSTR. Real low T. We're just going to have to call it MSR here pretty soon. It's got no T.
Low T though, low T is low time in this particular stance. I mean, your time horizons are nuts.
I'm going
You're
to
talking
start
about
calling MSTR MSR. It's
you're talking
got no
about
T.
3.5 months. Like, is this really what you want to do with your life? Like, you really want to just like try to find these bull flags and like
Yeah, I
time
want to
this thing
compound
or
my money,
whatever
dude. That's
else?
how you do it.
That's what Bitcoiners do. We've been compounding our money for fucking 16 years.
Yeah,
They
but
just
not for
compound
and not for the last 4 months.
4 months, dude. Are you insane? How do you live like that? How do you stare at charts every day and go, "Oh, I got to pick this winner. I got to pick this winner. I got to pick this winner." And if you don't time it right,
And you're
guess what?
wrong
You
Yeah.
miss the move.
70% of the time. You already told
And
us
not
that.
only
Right.
that,
It's
but
a
like
it's a
it,
let it's more of a
Tom Lee.
stress free it's more of a stress free life to just add when things are down. Like just keep adding to the position when
Yeah,
when
tell
you
that to
get
the
some
people.
lower.
Tell that to the people of Carvana when they had to hold that dog shit, or tell that to the people of
No, I
Moderna.
get it. It's look, I'm
Dude,
not
why don't
saying
you
that
tell it?
that you do
Tell it
that
to
on
the. You
picking
know what?
every
You know
stock.
what? You're right. I forgot that the world's richest people are all day traders. That's right, because they're so good at it that
Yeah,
they make
John
all this
Simons
money.
was a
They're
day trader
multi-billionaires,
effectively,
right?
and they're
No, wait,
one of the
that's
best
not true.
hedge funds
That's not
ever.
true. The people who make money are the people who find something that they have an advantage in. They hold it forever. The Warren
I
Buffets,
wouldn't
the
say
Elon
hold it. I
Musk.
wouldn't say hold it
I can
forever.
hear you guys. I can
That's
hear
what
you guys.
Bitcoiners are saying. Hold it forever. That's all you have to do. It's really simple. And then you can
I'm
go
back.
back to your life and you check in every once in a while. You don't have to make any trades. You don't have to search for bull flags or this is male astrology you're talking about right here. And like it's funny because you're on this stage like preaching all this stuff and
Bitcoin pilot.
99% of the people in this audience are laughing at you
I
because
got
you're
I got to
you're
be
here to
fair.
get orange pilled, homie. Just
Wait,
listen to what the people have to say.
can you
Get orange pilled.
hear me,
Learn that what
guys?
you're doing is is super low time or sorry, high time preference, and lower your time preference. Look at the horizon. Look at 2, 3, 4 years, not 2, 3, 4 months. Like you can't live like that. You can't trade like that, and you can't make money like that. You're gonna get absolutely slaughtered. If you want to know
Bitcoin
why, look at
Bitcoin
Thomas
pilot.
Lee. If you
Can you
miss
hear
the
me?
10 days, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry,
barely.
my audio is. I so what Bitcoin Pilot is saying is probably true for everyone, but I do have to defend Ariel a little bit because he literally did make like $20 million trading, so he does know what he's doing, but that's probably not going to be successful for an average person. So
Says who? Ariel?
this is very. I have friends who say he has made millions of dollars. This is true.
I've listened to countless macro investors, and they've all said the same thing, where if they just would have kept adding more on, some of the dips, they always outperformed, the stuff that they relentlessly stared at and tried to trade. They said every portfolio that they traded, they lost against the portfolio where they just held. And on the pullbacks, they just added some more. And on the extreme pullbacks, they just added some more, and those guys, they mop the floor with their trading portfolios. I've heard it so many times.
Just to give that some credence, because I know that part of what you guys are saying is actually true. And I don't remember exactly where I heard this, but the best performers in Vanguard are actually dead people.
Yeah, it's a good
Yep.
rumor. It's not true, but I do like that story.
I mean, I don't know if that's true, but if you bought something a long time ago, like an Apple, and you just didn't trade out of it, I mean, or an Nvidia, and you died, you've outperformed, about everybody.
Guys, so we have a legend in the space. He's not as high testosterone as me. He's a little low testosterone, but he is bullish on Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. Not bullish enough, of course. His name's British Hodl. I just destroyed him in a podcast the other day for being more bullish than him. But I want to hear British Hodl talk to Ariel, and with the context of Ariel's not a Bitcoin and MSTR diehard, but he is a very successful trader. So why don't if British wants to speak to Ariel about why he might want to think of a long-term hodl in either Bitcoin or MSTR, you can go ahead, British.
Good evening, everyone. And listen, young man, your father and I spoke about how you need to go on. some kind of testosterone pill, considering you're talking about being high testosterone without any hair on your face. Personally, that's number one. Secondly, I have no idea what it really is. I just got in the room. But it's a pleasure to be here. Let me catch up with this conversation, and then I'll give some input.
Sounds good. Yeah, look,
Basically,
Have
basically, just
we
to
got,
give a
sir?
quick TLDR, Ariel is a day trader. He thinks MSTR and every derivative of MSTR looks like it's about to break down. He's not bullish on any of them. He would wait specifically for a tight consolidation before making a play, and he lives by those rules. He's not interested in buying things and holding them long term.
What's his time frame on this?
I'm comfortable holding something long term so long as it stays above its
Excuse
ascending
me,
moving
sorry,
average.
I'm not speaking to a day trader. Teddy, what's his time frame on this?
I don't know. Like that's what's
He's
confusing to
mentioned
me.
3 and 4 months is too long. Like
No,
it's been a lot of months, a lot
I'm
of
in
months.
positions now that I've held for over 4 months, and I'm happy to hold them longer so long as they stay in uptrends or downtrends. I mean, I've held
See,
shorts for a year. I've held longs for 6, 7 months. So I'm okay holding positions so long as they're trending higher. I mean, that's what strong names do. They go up, they go sideways, they go up some
But what's
more.
the time frame?
Excuse me.
But what's the time frame on this assessment of MSTR though?
Well, currently on the daily time frame, right? It topped several months ago and it's done nothing but come down since Michael Saylor posted about needing a bigger rocket, right? That rocket that he was posting had no fuel and it also had no T, so it couldn't go any higher. And all it had to do was bag a bunch of people, a bunch of uneducated people on how psychology works within the markets, and it bagged them all, and it took them down for a 40% ride. Mr. Man in the Arena himself, and
Didn't bag 'em all, bud. Didn't bag 'em all.
yeah, well, soon.
Oh, we have the rooster. The rooster has found his way from the dirtbag roads of Clubhouse onto Twitter Spaces. This is interesting.
Good to see
Ariel's
British.
Ariel's decently smart, but he's lacking testosterone, and that is why he can't see the bigger picture here. It's very obvious.
Gladiator, I cannot wait. I think once everybody sees our podcast, they're gonna insist on you changing your name, because I think Gladiator doesn't make any sense for someone who doesn't own one single Satoshi. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like,
But
what are you being
don't be
Gladiator
don't be.
for?
So I'm the man in the arena with MSTR. So MSTR is more Bitcoin. So I own Bitcoin through Michael Saylor because Michael Saylor
But
could
you
be my
don't own Bitcoin. I don't care. Like you don't. I don't care how much people want to fanboy over Michael
Gladiator.
Saylor.
Yeah.
You don't own Bitcoin.
no. I agree. I should eventually own some Bitcoin. I just
Rooster,
don't.
can you imagine? I don't know whether to say your name or not, by the way.
Set up a
But
wallet, Gladiator. We'll send you some sats. You
Gladiator,
can
you just
play
gotta let me
around
come
with it.
up. Yo, we're gonna get that golf day in. I got a wallet for you.
That's
Let
true.
me know when.
I got to set up a wallet, and I'll own a little bit of some Sats. Okay, we'll get that figured
We'll
out because this is a knock on my name for me not to own any
we'll come
Bitcoin.
play. I'll come
we
play
gotta
golf.
get
I'll take your
yes.
dad. I'll take you and your dad on in some golf. You guys watch me hit 350-yard bombs, super high tee shit, and then we'll
There
set up
you
your
go.
wallet and we'll get you some
Say what
fucking
you want
actual
to
Bitcoin so you can be a real man and not just Sailor's little
say.
bitch. I mean, I'm an
Say,
MSTR holder, but if you don't hold Bitcoin, you're just another man's bitch. You got to get sovereign, son.
say what you want about Bitcoin Pilot. You can hear in his voice that he's high T. Like, I want Ariel to get in the gym and sound like that.
You guys are
My
great.
beard's
He's
so
a
thick
he's
it
a
wraps
hundred
around the
percent
back and
right.
touches the hair in the back. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
I can't grow any facial hair, dude, and I'm in my 30s.
Pilot's 100% right. I think you should take him up on the offer.
Dude, Gladiator and I have talked about it. I'm just waiting for the
I,
invite, but he missed it
I,
because I'm going to El Salvador today. But I'll be back next week, dude. You just got to set up a day.
definitely.
I'll come up
Play.
there. We'll set it
I
up.
do need to learn a little bit about the actual tech side of Bitcoin because I've heard from people that even though I understand its value, I need to really see it live and see why it's so amazing.
Gladiator,
So I
you're an
do need to see.
interesting case where you understand its value, but you don't understand why it has value. It's
We're
Yeah,
worried.
very
that's exactly it.
Gladiator,
Yeah.
where
very
were you for the last 2 hours yesterday? Teddy did a great job explaining all the reasons why it's valuable.
yeah. I honestly think Ariel
I know
figured
why
it
it's
out.
valuable. I just haven't seen
Until
it.
you
Like
used
I've
it,
never.
you can't
Teddy,
understand
this
it.
was
You really can't. I think
our
it's
whole podcast was basically this. It was Gladiator telling me I'm low T, and then me telling Gladiator that he doesn't own any Bitcoin and therefore doesn't understand Bitcoin, and then him proving that he actually doesn't understand anything about Bitcoin.
You guys want to know why I love my spaces? Because I try to go in these other spaces and everyone raises their hands and everyone has to talk and it's like a one person has the floor. Like I want a room where everyone just yells at each other and anyone can talk at any time.
Well, yours aren't anywhere near the yelling end of the spectrum, Gladiator. They get a lot more autistic than
no. You
that.
got to get Bitcoin Tina in here for that kind of dumb shit.
Oh, we
Teddy,
should.
Gladiator also took some swipes at Fred Krueger, by the
Oh,
way,
good for
for
him. Yeah,
yeah,
Bitcoin Tina's
as
still
he
around, by
Gladiator.
the
should.
way. Every once in a while, it's good to have an unhinged retard in your room
Fraud,
just to fuck it up.
fraud,
Bitcoin,
fraud. Ruger,
British,
fraud. Ruger is the biggest clown in the space right now.
British Huddle. So this guy, I don't know if you saw him, but he was on my space yesterday. Who's the guy with the fancy models? Giovanni? Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He was
Yeah.
Wait,
trying,
Hold
Gladiator.
on,
Wait, 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 wait.
Gladiator. Gladiator.
he tried
British
to
British
accuse.
has a storied history
Yeah.
with Giovanni.
Yes. No, Giovanni shared this post saying British Huddle's creating a meme coin. What the
Giovanni's so
hell?
full of
No.
shit. God damn
But
it. Just
Gladiator,
another
Gladiator.
S2F.
British Hodl had a video call with Giovanni, and he grabbed a thing of spaghetti, and he broke the spaghetti in half in front of Giovanni, and Giovanni got so triggered, he
He
was
had to go to
like,
the emergency room
yeah.
because a vein was popping up his head.
And now
I can't.
everybody in this industry calls him Pasta Boy.
Gladiator's so new, he doesn't even know what happened 6 months ago.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
So
yeah.
just the bro.
It's hilarious.
it's like I thought he might have been famous for this model, and he comes on here and his model has no input on any
The,
real world events.
so what's crazy about that is that Fred Krueger hosted, and again, I'm Fred's all right? Like he hosted this debate with the full intention of discrediting the bullish segment and hyping up this power law model. And now that the power law model's fallen on flat on its face, we're now promoting meme coins, right? Like this is the circus of Twitter, right? That goes on. But
So
Gladiator,
it's
next time next time Pasta Boy shows up, you should just threaten him with splitting some pasta and watch his reaction.
oh he tried putting my model of every time Bitcoin doubles MSTR 4x's. He tried to put it in this complex model.
Yeah, he was trying to
Yeah,
chart
he
it.
does that.
He's like, so every time Bitcoin doubles, the MicroStrategy 4x's, but I put this in the equation, and it is really Bitcoin to the power of 14. You realize that, right? It's even more bullish than my model here. If that's true, I think MicroStrategy will go to $250,000 per share.
That guy has lost his fucking mind a long time ago.
That's why he charges $35 an hour to to
Exactly.
teach people about Bitcoin.
Even Gladiator doesn't charge $35 an hour. Gladiator's in the generation that should have set up a life coaching seminar by now to teach people about MSTR, and he hasn't done that. And I'm proud of him for not doing that.
Yeah, I think that's more the cohort that doesn't have mommy and daddy to allow you to live in the 2,500 square foot basement. Am I right, Gladiator?
Yeah, when you're living in the parents' basement, you don't have to sell out.
Yeah.
So that's
Hey, Gladiator, do you want to hear something funny? Because I've been listening to you talk about living in the parents' basement. So I sold my house a year ago and put all the equity into Bitcoin. I've also been buying Bitcoin since 2013. And we moved our family to India to live for cheap. But we're currently back in the United States, and we're living in my in-laws' basement, and we don't pay any rent. So, and we have like multi millions of dollars, and we're like everyone in their neighborhood thinks we're just like millennials that are like moved back home and like living in the basement, but we're really just kind of like finishing up our couple year plan here before we build our house. But I feel a kinship with you every time you talk about living in your parents' basement, because that's like what we're doing right
You
now.
want to know the funny thing? I don't actually. My parents' condominium doesn't even have a basement, but I just thought it was funny.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! You can't say that. Don't tell us that.
Well, don't ever say that in public ever again. You got a brand to
Yeah,
protect.
bro. What the fuck?
No, but the reason I say it is because everyone tried to make fun of me saying you live in your parents' basement, so I just started saying it.
Well, it's like how Jack Mahler's like does everything from his empty women's clothes closet. You know, it's kind of like a similar ethos.
Yeah, it's just a figure of speech. But,
So Gladiator doesn't own Bitcoin and doesn't actually live in the basement. I mean, has there been a bigger LARP in the fucking history of
Dude,
Bitcoin?
is Gladiator the new Fred Krueger?
Total Gladifraud over
but I
here.
never said I
Fuck.
did own Bitcoin. I'm all in MSTR.
The title of your thing is MSTR BTC God Candles. Like, what the
Well,
fuck?
in order for the MSTR God candles, the BTC God candles will help that.
I can't believe you don't own any fucking Bitcoin. This is madness.
Hey, I have been very frank. I said I'm fully ported in MSTR. That does
We
not
were
mean
we
Did
were
you
You're gonna
start a
you're gonna
Solana
you're
coin
gonna
yet?
figure out Bitcoin when you mess around with it, and you're gonna be like, shit, I need to exit my MSTR.
no,
No,
no.
we were
Gladiator,
joking on.
did you start a meme coin yet on Solana called "You're Not Bullish Enough"? Is that already out?
No, I haven't made any meme coins.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Yeah, he's
I
not
saw
a
someone made a meme coin.
6-year old gay dude like Fred.
Someone once tried to make a
No,
meme
he
coin
he
on me,
could
I think.
you could make it and then attribute it to Fred. Use Fred's address.
It's a good idea. Oh my god. What's the MSTR doing today, guys? I gotta check this.
Gladiator, we were joking around on
Down
Clubhouse.
about 2.5%.
So Bitcoin's actually starting to pump here. I ran my models and there's a high probability that MSTR closes the day green, Ariel.
Yeah, that's super unlikely.
Hey,
What do we got? 2.5 hours until close, and
dude,
you think it's gonna I mean,
you don't understand.
it could rally.
Two percent.
It would need Bitcoin to get to about 106,000 minimum if you
No.
think, yeah.
MSTR,
Uh,
2% in MSTR is like 0.1% in an average stock. It's nothing.
I don't think it's closing green today,
According to who?
according to my models.
What are your models, Ariel, and are they backed by science?
They're back with my eyeballs.
But what do you think about the bull flag developing in MSTR?
It's not a bull flag. Bull flags don't have 40% drops in them.
Says who?
Says my
It's
But
eyeballs.
just a
isn't
big
it? But if you
flag.
actually look at it, like just look at like a line chart on MSTR on Google or something and zoom out, it looks like a textbook bull flag. The only reason it draw down 40% is because it's so volatile on the way up. It went up like 400%.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that, but once something goes up 400% and has a blow off kind of exhaustion candle the way it did, sometimes that can just mark the high for a really long time
So
too.
someone was telling me, "Oh, you bought the top of MSTR." Well, or people, not me, but they said that the top was 500. Some people bought the top. I mean, the reality is, we all heard LA Dozer speak the last couple of days, and the top of MSTR is Mars.
So it's got a long way to go then.
Yeah. So until it's a real estate development company on Mars, the top in MSTR is likely not in.
Are you going to live long enough to see them be a Mars real estate development company?
I mean, it depends. As long as I live another 30 years, probably.
Anything's possible, man. Yeah, I don't think MSTR is closing green today.
Well, I
The
want to
way
hear
it's
when Bitcoin breaks out to all-time highs this week and ends up at like 125K. Maybe that doesn't happen this week. Maybe next
MSTR
week.
might be at 440, best case scenario. And that's if
But think
Bitcoin's
about
at
it.
120.
Fundamentally, when Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, MSTR has never been a better company. So it should theoretically go to all-time highs.
Yeah, theoretically. The problem is you've got already a bunch of bag holders in there who are just waiting to get back to green so that they could sell.
But don't you think those
No,
people? Don't you think those
you
people
don't
have been?
understand MSTR
Don't
holders.
you think those people who bought the top? They've been listening to Gladiator speak about Mars, and now they don't want to get out. They just want to buy more.
I don't think anybody should be buying more stock that's still in a downtrend.
but it's technically in an uptrend if you zoom out
Yeah,
enough.
if we look at a yearly chart, yeah, it's in an uptrend. It's in an uptrend.
Now that's a good question. How many people do you think are in MSTR that are traders that just, don't know what they're doing, got in and
Well,
then
then
are
they're not
looking to get
traders.
in. No, 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 or okay, fair enough. But got in and then it went down. They don't have the conviction to hold. What percentage do you think is in that stock that the minute it hits back to their break even or skosh over or whatever, they dump out of it? What do you think that percentage
I
is?
mean, if there were 10,000 bag holders, I'd say more than half are looking to at least get break even and get out.
I doubt that. I think they already got out.
That's the other point I was going to make. I think everybody, when it broke 300 the last time, I think those people probably scared themselves out and are long gone. And for good reason. If you held it to 540 and you didn't think that that was a good day to unload some of those shares,
So what
um,
percent of MSTR holders or investors do you think bought are down from when they bought it?
I don't know. I wouldn't know how to answer
I,
that question.
I'll be honest. I personally am down on my MicroStrategy. What's up, guys? This is Holder, of Last Resort. I'm down on my MicroStrategy position because honestly, I didn't really buy until the $400 range. I'm holding forever though, so it doesn't really matter. But my whole theory with MicroStrategy right now is I'm looking at Bitcoin dominance creep back to 60% slowly and silently while the president releases a meme coin. You got Dave Portnoy touting meme coins. You got all these meme coin hype guys, and Bitcoin dominance is still slowly chugging along and eating shit coins alive. So I think we maybe have another week or two tops of consolidation before we have a pretty major breakout to that 150K range. I think this is like kind of the calm before the storm, and that hammer candle at 89K was huge, and that yesterday was a huge hammer candle too. I don't know. I'm getting fucking bullish right now.
The reality is that none of the altcoins are any good for Bitcoin itself because it just sucks up capital that would otherwise go to Bitcoin if Bitcoin were the only game in town.
But look at Bitcoin
Problem is
dominance, though. Look at Bitcoin
Yeah, it's not.
dominance.
It's also.
Look
It's
at
also
Bitcoin
not
dominance
true.
since FTX imploded. Go look at that chart on TradingView. You will literally see the moment shitcoins died is when
Also,
FTX
Ariel.
imploded.
Ariel, just quick here. So a lot of people come to the space because they're retarded and they want to buy meme coins. They've never bought Bitcoin, but they want to buy meme coins. And then they're like, "Oh, I got to join these spaces that are about Bitcoin because I'm going to learn about meme coins." And then they come in and they hear me go on a fucking 15-minute rant about what Bitcoin is, or Bitcoin Pilot, or Taylor, or Rooster, or a lot of these other guys that like actually know what Bitcoin is and what self-sovereignty means. And they go, "Oh, wait, do my meme coins do that?" And the answer is no. And then they go, "Well, maybe I should buy some Bitcoin." And then the money slowly flows back and Bitcoin dominance grows, right? So you're saying that like, oh, these things just suck up money. And then there's another part here, right? So all these people that have been in the space for a decade plus that are fucking around in the shitcoin world, a lot of them are the founders of these shitcoins. And you know what they understand? They understand Bitcoin. But you know what they want? They want your money.